My name is Nancy Sickles, and I was 29 years old the night my relationship quietly died over the sound of sizzling garlic. The apartment smelled warm the way it always did when I cooked a mix of browning chicken cracked pepper and the faint citrus dish soap. Liam insisted on buying because it felt like home. Funny looking back how manufactured our version of home really was. But in that moment, I was simply stirring dinner content, unaware that a single sentence was about to rearrange my entire life. Liam sat perched on one of the island stools, long legs stretched out, scrolling through his phone with that absent-minded half-smile people wear when they're reading something mildly amusing. The scene looked exactly like what I had once prayed for in my 20s stability routine, two people who shared groceries and inside jokes. A soft, unremarkable Tuesday night. Hey, Tara's birthday is on Friday, he said, still not looking up. Tara, his ex-girlfriend, the one who occasionally still liked his posts, who mailed him a Christmas card last year by accident, who existed in that weird territory between past and unfinished business, if you ask me. I chopped the chicken a little more briskly than necessary. Okay. Should we send her a birthday message or something? I expected a shrug, maybe a quick story about her latest boyfriend drama. I did not expect him to clear his throat lightly and say with unsettling casualness, well, it's kind of our thing. Every year since we broke up, I send her, a photo, a special one. It's our tradition. My knife stopped mid-slice. The sizzle of the pan grew louder, filling the sudden silence like an alarm only I could hear. A photo, I repeated without turning around. What kind of photo, Liam? He finally set his phone down and looked up, eyes flicking with something between embarrassment and stubborn self-assurance. A birthday nude, he said plainly. Like I said, it's just a silly thing we do. It's tradition. Tradition. My breath didn't hitch, didn't spike. Instead, something inside me cooled with surprising speed. A strange, icy clarity. I'd felt small flickers of it before, moments when he brushed off my boundaries with jokes or called me too sensitive for expressing discomfort. But tonight was different. You're sending your ex-girlfriend a nude? I asked quietly. He winced briefly. Then the defensiveness settled in like muscle memory. Nancy, don't make it into something it's not. It doesn't mean anything. You're not upset, are you? Don't be insecure. There it was. The word that had been used like duct tape in our relationship, stretched over every problem, slapped onto every wound. Don't be insecure. Don't overreact. Don't ruin the mood. 3 years of those lines had trained me to swallow entire storms. But tonight the storm didn't form. It dissolved. I turned off the stove. The room felt oddly bright, painfully crisp, as if a veil had fallen away and I was seeing him, truly seeing him for the first time. He waited for me to protest, to argue, to cry, to plead for basic respect he'd already decided I didn't deserve. Instead, I nodded and said in the calmest voice I have ever heard come out of my own mouth, "Traditions are important." His expression flickered confusion, then relief, then that smug little smirk he wore when he believed he'd handled something. Right, I knew you'd understand. He came around the island and kissed my cheek. It felt cold. It's meaningless, babe. Just a dumb inside joke from forever ago. But the way he said it with my feelings dismissed before I even expressed them, that was the real betrayal. Not the photo, not the ex. The disrespect, the certainty that I would accept anything. And suddenly I understood something with painful clarity. He expected me to stay because I always had. We finished dinner. I don't remember eating. I don't remember the show we watched. I don't remember brushing my teeth or turning off the lights. But I do remember feeling steady. When he left for work the next morning at 9:14 a.m., the door clicked shut with a quiet finality, a starting gun. I stood in the living room staring at the empty doorway, not as Liam's girlfriend, but as someone newly resurrected, someone unrecognizable to the version of me who had tolerated so much under the label of love. By 9:30, I pulled out my old duffel bag, the one I owned, before Liam came into my life, before his taste infiltrated my closet and our home decor. I packed only what was undeniably mine, my clothes from before him, my passport, my birth certificate, my laptop, my favorite mug with the chipped rim. I left the dresses he convinced me to buy. I left the necklace he got as an apology. I left the framed beach photo he insisted stay on the nightstand. Those belonged to a woman who no longer existed. I paused only once in front of the coffee maker I had splurged on last year. That at least was mine, and I damn well took it. The note was simple. No theatrics, no pleas or explanations. On a single sheet of printer paper, I wrote in clean block letters, "I hope the tradition was worth it. Do not contact me, Nancy." I placed it on the counter where last night's chicken had sat. Centered. Clean. Then I drove straight to the phone provider. "I'd like to remove my number from the shared plan and switch to an individual account," I told the clerk. "No problem," he replied. "And the other line on your account, Liam's, what would you like done with it?" I didn't hesitate. "Change the number, effective immediately." The clerk blinked, surprised but compliant. 10 minutes later, Liam's connection to the world and to me fractured cleanly. By 1:00 p.m., I was unlocking the door to a small studio apartment across town. Beige walls, thin carpet, ugly curtains. Perfect. It was mine. At 2:30 p.m., my new phone buzzed. Unknown number. "Hey, my messages to you are turning green. Did something happen to the plan? Call me." I muted the thread. Then I took the deepest breath I'd taken in years. It smelled like freedom. The first night in my new apartment felt eerily quiet, like the world had gone underwater. No ambient hum of Liam's gaming PC, no clink of his protein shaker, no half-sung melodies drifting from the shower. Just me. Just silence. It wasn't loneliness, it was detox. By morning, the detox had begun to sting. At 8:12 a.m., my phone lit up again, the same unknown number. "Nancy, seriously, my phone is messed up. I can't call anyone. Call me back." The message was followed by a voicemail notification. I let it play while I made my first cup of coffee in my new place, the rich, familiar scent filling a room that felt like a blank page. Liam's voice poured out, irritated, confused. "Nancy, this isn't funny. My phone won't load anything. My texts aren't sending. Did the plan glitch? Just call me." Delete. Not because I hated him, but because he no longer had access to me. By 10:00 a.m., I was assembling a cheap IKEA bookshelf, humming to myself, when another voicemail appeared. This one shakier, faster. "Okay, I'm home. Your stuff. Nancy. Where are your things? What is this note? What did you do? Call me right now, please. My phone still isn't working, and just call me." His panic seeped through the speaker, but it didn't reach me. I deleted it calm and methodical, like brushing crumbs off a table. My phone remained silent for hours after that, and I suspected he had gone into frantic detective mode, calling mutual friends, trying passwords, pacing the apartment with the note in hand. It was almost poetic. That evening, I ordered takeout and watched a movie on my laptop legs, tucked under me on my new too-firm couch. I slept better than I had in years. The next morning at 9:07 a.m., my phone finally rang with a name I recognized. Samantha, one of the few friends who had never made me feel small. I answered. "Nancy, holy hell, are you okay?" "I'm fine," I said, sipping coffee. "Why?" "Liam is losing his mind. He's blowing up my phone. I assume he can't blow up yours because, well, he says your number isn't working." "I changed it," I said simply. Samantha exhaled a long, impressed sound. "Wow, you really did it." "Yeah, I really did." There was a pause, then her tone shifted caution, mixed with something like disbelief. "Nancy, there's something else, something big." I waited. "Tara showed people the photo Liam sent her." I blinked. "What?" "She was drunk at a bar last night and bragged about it. Someone recorded her scrolling through it. It's circulating in their group chat. Probably outside of it by now." A slow exhale slipped from my lips. Not satisfaction that would imply emotional investment, but something colder like acknowledgement. "I see," I said. Samantha hesitated. "You don't sound surprised." "I'm not." "Liam is devastated," she continued. "He's humiliated. He's begging people to help reach you." "That's not my problem anymore," I said gently. "But thank you for telling me." She was quiet again, absorbing my tone, the steadiness of it, the absence of anything resembling longing. "You sound different," she finally said. "I am," I said. "I'm done." After the call ended, I set the phone down and opened a window. A light breeze flowed in, stirring the curtains, simple white, already more comforting than anything I'd owned with Liam. My peace lasted until 1:16 p.m. Another unknown number, Liam's voice full-blown panic now. "Nancy, please. Please pick up. I'm so sorry. Tara is insane. She showed people, everyone has seen it. I'm humiliated. I need you. You're the only one I can trust." There it was. Not "I love you," not "I miss you," just "I need you." He didn't want me. He wanted the emotional safety net he'd always assumed I'd be. Delete. 5 minutes later, an email arrived from his mother Janine's subject line, "Be the bigger person." I opened it only because I already anticipated the script. Nancy, Liam made a silly mistake, but abandoning him like this is cruel. A real woman would show compassion. He is hurting. You owe it to him to communicate. Silly mistake. Not betrayal, not disrespect, not intentionally sending sexual content to another woman. A silly mistake. There it was, the ecosystem that shaped him. A family where accountability never existed. Delete. That evening, I walked through my new neighborhood, bought fresh flowers for my table, treated myself to sushi and a glass of wine. For the first time in a very long time, I wasn't waiting for someone's reaction, someone's approval, someone else's emotional weather. 2 more days passed in silence. No calls, no voicemails, no emails, just the soft rhythm of a new life forming around the edges. Then on the third night at 7:52 p.m., my phone buzzed with another unknown number, different area code this time. Something in my chest tightened, not with fear, but with certainty. This was the final attempt, the final unraveling. I let it ring halfway, then answered. I didn't speak. On the other end, I heard a sharp intake of breath. Then, Nancy. Oh my God, you answered. Thank you. Thank you. Please, can we talk? I'm begging you. I'll do therapy. I'll block Tara. I'll do anything. I can't sleep. I can't think. I can't live without you. Please, just talk to me. The desperation in his voice was raw enough to scratch against the silence of my apartment. Still, I said nothing. He waited, held his breath, tried again. Nancy, please say something, please. I took a slow breath, my decision already carved into stone. Liam, I said quietly. He let out a sound, half sob, half relief. Yes, I'm here. I'm listening. My voice remained steady, clean, unshakable. You became a stranger the moment you pressed send on that photo. Silence. I continued. And strangers don't get to call me. Before the broken wail could form on his end, I hung up. Blocked the number. Set the phone face down on the table. My apartment was silent again. But this time, silence didn't feel empty. It felt earned. The morning after I ended the last call with Liam, the world felt strangely gentle. The light coming through my thin studio curtains had a softness to it, muted, almost tender, as if the universe itself was acknowledging the closing of a long, painful chapter. I stood barefoot in the kitchen corner that served as a kitchenette, waiting for coffee to brew the steam rising in slow spirals like an exhale my body had been holding for years. For the first time in a long time, nothing felt urgent. No phone vibrating with guilt-tripped messages, no tension curled between my shoulder blades, no second-guessing myself or walking on emotional eggshells. Just silence, and me, existing. But emotional detox isn't a straight line. It bends, dips, resurfaces. Around noon, as I folded clothes into the tiny dresser I'd assembled myself, I caught my reflection in the mirror, same eyes, same face. But something was undeniably different. I wasn't bracing anymore. I was simply living. At 12:47 p.m., my phone buzzed with a notification. My breath didn't hitch. I had removed that reflex. It was just a buzz, a piece of plastic doing its job. But when I looked down, it wasn't a number. It was a name. Samantha. I answered. Hey, she said, her voice softer than usual, checking in. How are you holding up? I'm good, I said truthfully. Really good or pretending to be good? I smiled. Really good. Another pause, this one careful. Liam. He's still spiraling. Tara posted something cryptic on Instagram, one of those dramatic quotes about men who show their true colors, and everyone's assuming it's about him. He's apparently blocked her now. His mother is furious. He's not going to work. I listened, absorbing her words, the way one listens to a documentary about a stranger, interested but detached. I'm sorry he's going through that, I said, and I meant it. But sympathy is not obligation. But it's no longer my life. It's not, she agreed, and I'm proud of you. We talked for a few more minutes. Normal things nearby, cafes, new movies, our mutual friends' disastrous haircut topics that belong to the living, not the mourning. When we hung up, I realized something. I didn't feel guilty for being okay. That alone felt revolutionary. As the days passed, I started to settle into the small, liberating routines of my new life. Morning coffee in absolute silence. Walks down the street just because I wanted fresh air. Cooking meals that I wanted with no commentary. Sleeping through the night without the weight of someone else's moods beside me. Freedom is quiet, not loud or triumphant, just soft. But freedom also leaves space for unexpected things. On the 4th evening after the final call, I wandered into a tiny art gallery a few blocks away. They were hosting an opening for a local photographer. I wasn't dressed for it, jeans, loose sweater hair in a messy bun, but no one there cared. The gallery was full of warm lighting and gentle chatter, people sipping wine and analyzing the photographs pinned to crisp white walls. That's where I met Evan. Not romantically, not yet, maybe not ever, but symbolically. A door where I had expected only walls. He struck up conversation beside a photograph of a decaying greenhouse overtaken by wild vines. Funny, isn't it, he said, how nature always reclaims what was suffocating it. I turned to him, startled by how perfectly his comment matched the metaphor my life had become. It is, I said. It's actually kind of comforting. He smiled, kind eyes, soft edges. Nothing sharp or performative about him. We talked for maybe 15 minutes. Art. Coffee shops. His job as an architectural designer. My recent move. Nothing personal enough to feel invasive, but enough to remind me I still had a pulse. The interaction didn't linger like a spark. It lingered like a reminder. There is a world beyond survival. A week after I left Liam, I found myself sitting inside a small cafe, a short walk from my studio. The place smelled like warm pastries and roasted beans, the kind of scent that wraps around you like a thick sweater. I sat by the window, with a book open in front of me, though I wasn't really reading. Instead, I watched the sunlight play across the floor, shaping and reshaping itself every time someone opened the door. When my phone buzzed, I reached for it without fear. One message, not from a blocked number, not from someone demanding anything of me. Just a simple text. Evan Hope, your day is treating you well. The new photography exhibit we talked about is still running. Want to check it out this weekend? My treat for interrupting your greenhouse analysis the other night. I stared at the message for a moment. There was no pressure in it, no expectation, no manipulation disguised as affection. Just an invitation, a door. I let out a breath I didn't know I'd been holding and typed back. Nancy. Sure, that sounds nice. When I set my phone back down, something inside me eased, not because of the message, but because of what it represented, a step forward, not away. A soft beginning, not a rebound. A reminder that life continues, that peace is not the absence of noise, but the presence of self. As I sipped my coffee, I realized with stunning clarity, I did not miss Liam. I did not miss our apartment. I did not miss the routine that had once felt like home, but had actually been a cage. The only thing I missed was myself, and now I had her back. The cafe door opened, and sunlight spilled across the table in front of me, warming the pages of my book. And for the first time in years, I felt warm too. The following week unfolded in a way I hadn't experienced in years, quietly, steadily, without emotional landmines, buried under every interaction. No waiting for a sarcastic comment disguised as humor. No anticipating the next dismissive "don't be dramatic." No shrinking myself to avoid conflict Liam insisted was imagined. Maybe the most surprising part wasn't the freedom from him. It was the freedom from who I had become with him. On Thursday morning, I woke up earlier than usual, sunlight leaking through the cheap curtains in soft gold streaks. My studio apartment was still half unpacked, half bare, but it felt more like home than the meticulously decorated place I had shared with Liam. Here, nothing reminded me of compromise disguised as shared taste. Here, nothing smelled like someone else's preferences. I padded across the cool floor, started my coffee maker, and leaned against the counter. My reflection in the microwave door stared back at me, familiar but subtly changed. My eyes looked clearer. My shoulders sat lower. My jaw wasn't tight. It struck me how much space a single person's disregard can take up in your body, and how quickly that space empties once you finally walk away. Around noon, I took myself on a walk. No destination, no purpose, just movement. The city felt different now, less like something happening around me, and more like something I was finally rejoining. I passed a couple, arguing loudly by a bus stop. The woman's posture, defensive shoulders curled inward, reminded me of too many nights spent shrinking while Liam explained why my feelings were wrong. A few weeks ago, I would have envied them for being passionate. Now I just felt grateful I had stepped out before I became unrecognizable. As I walked, my phone buzzed in my pocket. Not a number, a name. Evan. He'd become an unexpected presence, gentle texts, small conversations that didn't demand anything, not even attention. He wasn't trying to fix me or help me or play the hero. He was just there. Like sunlight on a cold day. You notice it because it feels different, but it doesn't burn. He'd written, "Still up for the photography exhibit this weekend." No pressure, but I found a cafe nearby that apparently has life-changing croissants. I laughed softly to myself, the kind of laugh that isn't forced, doesn't mask hurt, doesn't brace for backlash. I typed back, "Absolutely. Croissants are a powerful motivator, But as I slid my phone into my pocket, I didn't feel the spark of new romance or the thrill of possibility. What I felt was peace. Whatever Evan turned out to be, friend, acquaintance, passing character in this chapter of my life, he represented something I had forgotten entirely. People can be kind without agenda. Relationships can be simple without being empty. Connection doesn't have to come with conditions. That night, I sat on the floor with a glass of cheap wine. My new apartment didn't have chairs yet, going through the few boxes I'd brought with me. Old photographs, college notebooks, a postcard from my sister, the chipped mug I loved too much to throw away. There was no trace of Liam in any of it. It hit me then how thoroughly he had managed to fill my world with his things, his tastes, his preferences, until my own felt like clutter, and how little I needed any of it now. Near the bottom of one box, I found a journal I hadn't written in since before Liam. Curious, I flipped through a few entries. There I was, messy, emotional, hopeful, stubborn, a woman who had boundaries, dreams, desires, a woman who didn't apologize for taking up space. I hadn't realized how much of her I'd lost, or how quietly I had surrendered her for approval that never came. And now, here she was again, returning in small waves, in confident sips of coffee, in quiet mornings, in peaceful breaths, in saying no without fear. I closed the journal and whispered to no one. Welcome back. On Saturday afternoon, I met Evan at the photography exhibit, the same gallery where we first crossed paths. He greeted me with a warm smile and 2 pastries in a small paper bag. For scientific comparison, he joked, to see if the croissants really are life-changing. I smiled, not shy, not self-conscious, just genuinely amused. We walked through the exhibit together, pausing in front of a photograph of a lone flower breaking through a cracked sidewalk. The image was beautiful in a quiet, stubborn way. Funny how something can grow even in the wrong place, Evan said, hands in his pockets. Sometimes I replied, the wrong place teaches you what you actually deserve. He looked at me for a moment, not prying, not assuming, just acknowledging. That's a powerful thing to learn, he said softly. And that was it. No pressure, no questions, just respect. We parted ways after an hour, promising to grab coffee sometime. No set date, no looming expectation. It was the healthiest interaction I'd had in years. That evening, as I settled onto my mattress with a bowl of ramen and my laptop, something in me finally unclenched. I didn't need closure from Liam. I didn't need an apology. I didn't need revenge. The only closure I needed was already happening in the quiet of my new life, in the slow rebuilding of my identity, in the realization that losing someone who disrespects you is not a loss. It's a rescue. Before I went to sleep, I opened my phone one last time, half expecting some ghost from the past to appear. But there were no missed calls, no emails, no messages. Just a simple text from Evan. Hope the rest of your weekend is peaceful. And it was. As I turned off the bedside lamp, a thought settled over me with the weight